This a Playboy affair.
Let's get into the MVP conversation. We are at the very tail end of the league. Regular season, less than a month left?
Less. The season ends like May 16th.
Okay, less than a month left. I feel like the MVP conversation has been solidified. There's a clear top four to me at this point, and I want to start with the person that is vaulting up this list as hard as they can. Steph Curry, your favorite. All right, talk to us. The MVP case for Steph Curry. Are you buying it? Are you selling it? Where are we at?
My man, listen, I would love for Steph to win an MVP. I don't think it'll happen, though. And that's coming from possibly one of the biggest Steph Curry fans in this country or on the planet right now. He has been doing amazing things that are very short list NBA kind of things for the month of April, which we're still in, by the way. You'll see this on April 23rd. Thus far, he's averaging 40 points a game, 55% from the field, 50% from three, and 91% from the free throw line.
So a 50-50-90?
Yeah.
Not a 50-40-90.
Right. And even, people are the two things that put how good Steph Curry is as a shooter into perspective are this. It's that if Steph Curry went 0 for 500 on his next 3-point attempts, he would still have a higher 3-point percentage than James Harden. He could go 0 for 500, and still have a higher career percentage than James Harden. Steph, for his career, shoots about 43% from three, which, if you know anything about basketball, bonkers, crazy. Good players, Luka, LeBron, they are like in the low 30s.
You remember when, 5 years ago, shooting 40% from three was like unheard of, and we were just like, well, Jesus Christ.
What is this? He's cheating. He broke the game. He's a cheat code. He's still a cheat code, by the way.
Oh, the cheat code is worse now.
Yeah, the thing with Steph is he is the only player ever to have a unanimous MVP season. That was the 2015-16. The team goes 73-9. He breaks his own 3-point record with over 400 that season. Just ridiculous numbers, 50, 40, 90. And he's playing better than that right now and has been for an extended stretch of the season. I just think it's going to come a little bit too late for it to factor into the narrative for a lot of NBA writers. That and the Warriors are too low down in the Western standings. He's missed a little bit too much time. They've slipped a little bit too much for him to be there.
They can't win when he doesn't play.
No.
And the crazy thing about this is this brings me to the second person that I want to talk about, and that's Dame. Okay, so if you're a frequent listener of the pod, when we first wanted to have a smaller MVP conversation, we talked about Jokic and Dame. Mm-hmm. And I had my entire cape on for Dame. I was flying the flag high. I was like, watch, Dame is going to go on a tear to end the season, and it's going to vault him up in our minds. And then Steph Curry did everything that I thought Dame was going to do.
What he always has done.
And Dame instead fell off. Dame has fallen off. In the month of April, he now averages only 21 points a game. His season average is 28, right? So he's gotten worse over this last month. And he tried to talk about this and explain it. He said, look, a lot of people don't watch my games. They just see the stat line, see I only have 15 points. They don't see that people are guarding me full court, all up in my face. They don't see that I'm getting doubled at half court, trapped, right? And I thought to myself, who does that remind you of, DeMarcus?
Steph.
Oh, Steph is averaging 40 in April, being guarded full court, double teamed at half court.
And I'll add, he's 0.1 points per game behind Bradley Beal for the overall scoring championship.
Look, all I'm saying is that quote by Dame kind of solidified the fact that he has no chance anymore. Because he's trying to explain his failings away as if there's not another player in the league being guarded the same exact way. Matter of fact, they guard you the way they guarded Steph. That was the blueprint.
Steph is the blueprint for Dame. There is no Dame today without Steph.
It was crazy to me. So I think Steph has really kind of killed any chance that Dame has at winning MVP because of what we have seen so far. And the small market is a double-edged sword. You play your games really late, So
West Coast.
half the country is asleep already. Small market. So that helps you when you're doing a little bit poorly because people aren't seeing those poor performances. But sometimes it hurts you when you are playing ridiculously out of your mind because no one sees those performances.
So I'll say yes and no to this a little bit because Steph's also on the West Coast. And I watch his games.
Not a small market, though.
Not a small market,
That's the thing. He's on the West Coast, but he's not in a small market.
Because I'm going to watch his games. Or even better yet, Twitter. Just Twitter or Facebook. You're just scrolling. You're doing your thing. Having a nice evening. People are like, Steph is going off. You're just like, oh, I might have to check that out. Or I have an Apple TV. It'll be like, close game. The Warriors are leading by 3 with 2 minutes to go. And I'm like, I got to click on that. I got to click on that. The Boston game, one of the best games of the season.
Yo.
Steph showed out and battled Jason Tatum for 48 minutes.
And Jason Tatum is actually on an amazing stretch of basketball right now. Highly underrated.
Yes.
Stretch he's going through.
Now, there's another guy who Tatum wishes he could beat. Joel Embiid, who was the early MVP favorite.
Look, if we're doing rankings right now, I still have him at number 2 for me. I'd have Steph at 3, maybe Dame at 4, but I'd have Joel Embiid still at 2. And I think the only way you take this award away from Joel Embiid is that he has not played enough games. That stretch of time he missed when he got injured. Otherwise, I feel like this is his award to lose. Number 1 seed in the East. The only person that has a better case at him is obviously Jokic, who you've been on since the get-go. So I'm like giving you props. I'm going to give you your flowers right now. But he's first seed in the East, better record than the Nuggets, right? He is the most dominant two-way player in the league today. He's averaging 30 points a game, a steal, a block and a half, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. The man is going insane. Legitimate defensive player of the year candidate as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
And he said it himself. When you put both of those things together, how am I not the MVP? DeMarcus?
I think you're right. Well, we know this. The games played is a huge part of this. I think the rest of the resume is there. I think the games played is gonna be what gets him. And I think even if there are people who are willing to vote for him, despite that, I think, especially if Steph keeps this up for another few weeks, he's gonna steal some votes. Steph is gonna be like 3rd in the final vote tally at the end of it. He won't have a chance to win it, but if it is close between Jokic and Embiid, Steph will decide who wins that. Was what I think will happen. Now for Jokic, this is real simple. Yeah. Embiid's first in the East. Cool. KD's hurt. Bucks are retooling. Miami had a bunch of big trades to get better. They should be the first in the East. Second,
talking shit.
The Nuggets are 4th right now in the West, which is difficult, but could be as high as 2 or 3 when the season is done because of injuries. So we got a new Kawhi injury. He's got some soreness in his foot. He's going to be out for a bit. The Clippers are, I think, 2nd right now.
Yeah, but Paul George is playing nuts. He is not letting the Clippers falter at all.
He is absolutely. But then we also have the injury to Jamal Murray, and I think the Jazz will come down a little bit off of that. And so I think the Nuggets can get highest.
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan or that but
they're both injured, to be fair.
Yes. Anyways, everybody injured, but Jokic is still there. The teams in front of him are mostly going to fall, except for the Suns, I think. And so he can get as high as the 2 seed in the West, which is just great. That's difficult to do. That's hard stuff. You had a fantastic season. The narrative is already there. He's had huge improvements off of last year. Now that other injuries are happening on his team, he is still the catalyst driving them to wins every night. It's all there.
There's no way he loses if after Jamal Murray gets hurt, he leads them to actually propel up the standings.
Yeah, if he gets them to 2nd, that's MVP.
Okay, I don't think he can get them to 2nd.
It's not as far off as you think.
The Jazz are really
still a
far
good team
up there, dude. Like just between the Jazz and the Suns, I just like 3 at best.
But even then, that's a fantastic season in the West.
Yo,
I think you still win at 3.
I'm not. Yes. I'm just saying, like, I have faith in the Jazz. They've been really well coached all season. But I'm with you. This would be interesting. I do think Jokic is now the runaway favorite.
I just wish we have to wait. I can't wait for June for this. June? We've been talking about this since December?
Maybe, yeah.
So it's going to be 6 or 7 months of this constantly changing MVP story. Everybody votes in mid-May.
Exactly. And then we get to see the playoffs change the way that we feel about everything. LeBron exists.
I much like them having it in like the second round of the playoffs. Like if you're that guy, your team should be in the second round. Before the series starts, you get your little ceremony. We might get a good speech or some of the best speeches. The KD speech. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. You're the real MVP? Ah, man, that's forever going to hit.
Facts.
And it's not the same when it's at some glitzy award ceremony in like June.
I do agree. It feels like it has less meaning.
Plus the other guys get to see you do it and they get upset. They want to play harder. And I need that. Especially with no fans for most of these playoff series. Because they're still shut down due to COVID restrictions in most places. I think some places will have fans. So it's going to be very strange. But even watching games, I'm watching the Boston Warriors game, fantastic game, best game of the season. And I'm like, there's something missing. And it's the energy that the fans give off. Because you can feel it at home too. You could feel it like when the Warriors used to play and you could hear Oracle going crazy. You'd be like, oh, it's hot in there. I want to be there. It makes you want to be there. And I don't have that feeling anymore. It's just watching. And it feels a little bit more disconnected.
Okay, I'm with you.
The players that we talked about today are the ones who make me feel like I'm connected again to the game, who make me ooh and ah and do all of that during the game. And so I think it's Jokic, even though he's the least ooh and ah player, but the others, Embiid, who does crazy athletic things, Steph, etc., are going to give him a run for his money over the next 3 weeks.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
We want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to listen to this video. Did you know that this video is part of a larger Fly Route podcast? Look us up wherever you watch podcasts. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. Take the time, subscribe. We appreciate you.
While we have you here, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit the notification bell. Otherwise, you will miss some of our YouTube videos. That's just the way YouTube works. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Fly Route Pod.